Welcome to Save As Ability, a podcast to educate and inform you about disability employment issues. My name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Hello once again, everybody. It's David D'Arcangelo back with another episode of Save As Ability. We've been getting a great response. Please help us keep it going. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Give us your thoughts on how we're doing here and future episodes you'd like to see or topics, whatever the case may be. Let us know. We enjoy hearing from you. We do still have a few buttons left, a few Save As Ability buttons. We're all in various states of ability, as we've been saying all along. And somebody with high ability that I know personally from our time together previously is Owen Devlin. We're going to have him as our guest today. We're going to be talking a little bit about internships and the value they play in the employment process, really for everybody, but particularly for people with disabilities. So with that, we'll welcome in Owen. Owen, how you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Good to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. Maybe you can tell our viewers a little bit about you, and then we'll get into some of the things that we think are keys to internship success and how that can lead to employment opportunities.
Sure. So right now I'm actually in my last year at Suffolk University in Boston, majoring in broadcast journalism. I really enjoy it. And ultimately I aspire to work in the industry as a reporter in local news. You know, I love writing and interviewing. I have a passion for meeting new people and hearing their stories. So I really hope that I can kind of be in that position where I can bring all of my strengths together in that one area. And I look forward to to graduation, to graduating in May of this year. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm optimistic that things are hopefully gonna work out well.
Well, I think they will. And we worked together at when I was the commissioner of the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind. You were one of our interns, and I know you worked in our communication department with great success, and you were really a star for us. So tell us a little bit about some of how because I know that's not your only experience that you've had. Tell us a little bit about some of your experiences and how you think that's positioning you well for employment success.
So sure. So I've worked in a variety of different capacities in terms of internships in the past few years. Last year, most recently, I worked at BNN Boston Neighborhood Network in Roxbury in the production department, where I really had the ability to explore production in more detail and learn a little bit about what it's like behind the camera as opposed to what it's like in front of the camera. And within that, I like I mentioned, I was in the studio for most of my work there. And, it's a public access TV station. So I helped out with all of the TV shows, and I had the opportunity to really collaborate with producers in terms of how they wanted their show to run, what they wanted things to look like in terms of the camera positions and the audio and things like that. And like I mentioned, I kind of got some exposure within that, just being in the studio sort of and I developed a better understanding of how important those aspects really are in terms of putting everything together. You want your audio to sound really good, and you want your cameras to be positioned in a very satisfactory way so that things run smoothly and things run well. And within that, I did have an opportunity to work in the news department a little bit, in addition to the production work I did there. So they have a weekly news program that they run every Fridays. So I was able to kind of work behind the scenes on that and provide some input of how I thought it looked and how I thought it should be, kind of how each episode should run. And that was really interesting for me. And I also was able to go on a shoot for one of their just one of the stories they did as part of their news program, their news broadcasting on their website. And that was really interesting too. So that being said, I think I got a lot of exposure in different areas. And that was really my first internship that I had that was kind of related to the field I'm interested in going into and the career I'm interested in kind of pursuing after graduation. in TV news. And I think I got a lot of just great exposure and, a lot of transferable skills that that I know I've learned from that experience that I can hopefully apply to when I'm in the field working one day.
All right,
And
great.
I've
Well,
also
that's
had some
terrific.
experience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I've
I was
also
just
had
going to
some
say, if you wanted to
experience.
go into any other experiences that you think.
Yeah. So I've had some experience prior to that, where, as you mentioned, I worked at the Mass Commission for the Blind, and I also worked at the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, and that was really interesting as well. And that was a little bit different from my work at BNN, but I did get some kind of exposure to an office environment, and I learned a lot about, what it takes to kind of run a successful. I worked in HR mainly for MassDOT, and then I worked as you mentioned, I worked in the communication department mainly for the Mass Commission, and I worked on some various projects in both of those internships, and I've kind of learned a lot about the importance of meeting deadlines and really the importance of, being an advocate as a person with a disability myself and kind of meeting those deadlines and how important all of that is.
All right. So what do you think if you had to tell somebody who's listening, a fellow intern, like somebody peer to you, or a parent or a brother or a neighbor or somebody else associated with a person with a disability, about internships, what's your overall recommendation to them?
I would say to use all of the connections you have. And that is a really big way for me of how I really ended up finding the internships. How I found the internships I have had in the past. I've used all of my connections. In addition to, I would suggest definitely looking extensively for that internship or that position that you really want, that really that you think will really help you in the long run. And like I mentioned, I think those transferable skills are really important. So I would definitely suggest looking for something that, like I mentioned, that could be beneficial for you in the long run in terms of, and really ask yourself, what am I going to get from this internship and how can I use the skills I may learn from this internship to what I want to do after graduation, or even just in the long term, wherever you may find yourself in your journey. And I think that, like I mentioned, using those connections is really, for me, I think that's a really pertinent thing. In my experience, I've been able to land internships, like I've mentioned, from that, but also the traditional going on to, whether it be LinkedIn, Indeed, or a job searching website, and really applying and expressing how much an interest I have in the position or the internship and how much I really want it. So those are the main two things I would suggest. And I would also say to just not be afraid to challenge yourself and go outside of your comfort zone, especially if you're looking to apply to a position, or if you're really interested in something that you may have not tried before. I think that's really important as well.
All right, great. So I'm hearing three big themes here. One, it helps you network. Internships help you network. They help you build, because that's how you're going to get into a job, right? Is you're going to be able to find an unpublicized job opportunity. That's really one of the best ways to be able to find a position. So I'm hearing that. Also, I'm hearing you're getting the great experience, the practical hands-on experience, so you feel confident. You can do the job. You can read up on it. If you do think there's a deficiency in some area, while you're not in the studio, you can do things so that the next time you're in the studio, know what button to push or what to do. I'm hearing that as well. But then really the other thing is just the path to it, right?
Exactly. And like you mentioned, I think you bring up a great point in that, you expanding and making those connections last is really important. I know in my experience, I've had all of the connections that I've developed throughout my internship journey and my academic journey. I really try and maintain those connections because and I've been told this as well, like that can be really valuable as you continue in your journey. If you're looking for a specific job or if you're looking to go.
100%. I still keep in touch with the people I had at my first internship.
That's awesome.
Right. So, all right, Owen, as we begin to wrap up here, any final words of advice here, and tell us where you're going to be in 6 months from now? Are you going to follow up with us once you've landed your big job? Or are you going to forget the little people here?
I will not. David, you are someone in all of my connections. You especially are someone that I will maintain contact with as I go in my career for sure. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. And you're just you're a great person, and I love your mission and what you're doing now. And that goes for, all of my connections. I intend to to keep those as much as I can and to stay in contact with all of them as I go in my journey. And I want to add one last kind of comment, if that's okay, before we wrap up, to kind of piggyback off of what I was saying before. I think that, I really love your mission. And I think in the first episode, you had said that the word disability really implies challenge. And that can have a negative correlation for some people when they think about it from that, in that way, from that perspective. But I really like how, your podcast is Save as Ability. And I really love how the title, because I think that ability is really emphasizing that, what can a person, the good things and the assets and the strengths, especially that people with disabilities can bring to organizations, but also in their personal lives as well. So I think it's really important and I'm glad that you're emphasizing, the ability as opposed to the disability.
Well, thank you, Owen. That's me. I'm a positive person. I think the focus should be on ability because we all have ability and we're all in various states of ability. So you have tremendous talent and ability. I know we're going to be hearing more from you. So I want to thank you for joining us as we're wrapping up here. Thank everybody for joining in. And please, again, like, subscribe, share, comment. And we've got a few of the Save as Ability buttons left. We're going to be coming up with another design as well. So stay tuned for that. But thank you, everybody, for joining. It's David D'Arcangelo, Save as Ability. I hope you have a great day. For more information about disability employment issues, please visit our website, disabilityemploymentsolutions.com. The Save as Ability podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel at Disability Policy Expert, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment. Save as Ability lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #TheNewRadio. Again, my name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Until next time, thank you. I hope you have a great day.